We are here to bring a new type of news show.
New insights, new styles, and new topics every day.
We are News Generation.
Bring news just for you. It's Tuesday, May 27th here in Seoul. I'm Song Yujin and you're tuning into News Generation. Joining us today is Kwon Ju-yeon.
Happy Bright Tuesday.
Happy Bright Tuesday, and Brandon M. Jones.
Hello everyone, hope you guys are doing well today.
We are doing well, and welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me back.
And both are here to speak on behalf of those in their 20s and 30s. As usual, we're going to begin with our keyword news. Our keyword for this Tuesday is kiosk. Now, for the first time in its history, Starbucks is rolling out self-service kiosks at selected stores, and it's starting right here in Korea and in neighboring Japan. The company announced on Monday that it will begin installing kiosks this week at 10 locations in major tourist and business areas, including Seoul and Jeju Island. This is indeed a notable shift for the coffee giant, which has long emphasized face-to-face customer service as part of its brand identity. Now, according to Starbucks, the new kiosks aim to ease communication challenges between staff and international customers, especially as South Korea is seeing a rise in tourists. So starting with you, Brandon, what are your thoughts on this change?
Well, I think this is a fantastic move showing that Starbucks is embracing technology to better serve its customers. Not only does it help with the language barrier for tourists, but let's be honest, not everyone wants human interaction every morning when they get their cup of coffee.
Not always, right?
Correct? Many just want to get their coffee and just go on with their day and just move quickly.
Right.
So I think this is a smart strategic shift that will make ordering easier and faster for everyone, enhancing their overall coffee experience.
So not just only international consumers, but also those who are in a rush, especially in the morning, right?
Correct. You gotta pali-pali.
Bali culture. What are your thoughts on this, Gia?
I couldn't agree more. You know, these days, many restaurants and cafes in Korea, they do use this kiosk system for the people. So this change by Starbucks Korea doesn't surprise me a lot. Personally, I find kiosks very convenient. They let let me browse all the menu options at once, especially when there is no queue behind me. But at the same time, they do feel a bit cold. The kindness of human interaction slowly fades away. Even a simple greeting from staff disappears. No eye contact, no greeting from them. And many elderly people struggle with using kiosks. And now we even see robots delivering our meal, our lunch in the restaurants these days. While technology brings efficiency, I can't help but wonder if we are quietly trading away the human touch from us.
Right. And especially when it comes to elderly people or those with disabilities who are trying to use these kiosks, I definitely think that there should be some sort of guidance, proper guidance.
Right.
All right. Now, for those who are curious about this new policy by Starbucks, 2 stores in Seoul's Myeongdong area will be the first to install these machines this week, with kiosk orders expected to begin early next month. And that was our keyword news for this Wednesday. So we're now going to move on to our main discussion of the day. Tuesday means we're turning our focus to what's making headlines on Korea's cultural front. Take a look at the screen to find out more. Today, May 27th, marks the very first Aerospace Day here in Korea. This commemorative day was newly designated last year to celebrate the launch of the Korea Aerospace Administration and to highlight the country's growing ambitions in space exploration. Today on NewsGen, we're going to explore how far South Korea has come on its space journey and where we might be headed to next. Right, so as mentioned in the VCR, today is Aerospace Day, the very first Aerospace Day here in Korea. So we're going to start our show by checking in on where South Korea currently stands when it comes to space technology and space exploration, right, Jian?
Yes, let's start from the Korea's journey to space, where it began, how it all began, and where it's headed today. Well, today, as you mentioned, we commemorate the launch of the National Space Agency exactly 1 year ago, the very first official Aerospace Day in Korea. It's a milestone that shows Korea is reaching further into space. The country's space industry has been advancing rapidly that is. And back in 1992, Korea successfully launched its first satellite, 우리별 1호, or KISAT-1, into orbit, which was a remarkable achievement at the time. While satellite development moved relatively quickly, progress in launch vehicles took longer. It was a slow slow liftoff, but worth the wait.
Definitely. So it's been about 30 years since Korea started its space exploration and really started to grow its space industry. Now, when talking about Korea's space tech and aerospace ambitions, we can't leave out the launch of Nuri, which is Korea's domestically developed space rocket. Over the years, following the Nuri launch, Arirang News also broadcasted the Nuri launches live. So, Brandon, I heard that you were actually in Korea during the previous launches.
Yes.
So I want to ask you what that experience was like, and I'm sure that a lot of our international viewers might wonder what's up, what's next for the Nuri project. So please tell us about that too.
Okay, so the Nuri program is South Korea's groundbreaking, fully homegrown space launch vehicle program, right? So it provides independent access to space. So I experienced all 3 launches here, and it was truly eye-opening. And the successes are firmly establishing South Korea as a capable spacefaring nation. There is a 4th launch scheduled for this year in November, so make sure you guys look out for that. And with substantial investments, the program plans more launches by 2027 and is already developing the next generation of reusable rockets.
Right.
So it's something great to see. It was really a great experience, so definitely check it out, you guys.
Right, I think that it made a lot of people excited when they saw these Nuri launches live because it was Korea's big leap into the space race. And Brandon, do you remember watching these launches live? What were your thoughts on this? Because I remember I was really excited and kind of touched.
No, it was like, how do I want to explain this? Like, I'm not really I wasn't up to date, but then one of my Korean friends was telling me like, hey, you got to check this out. So I watched it on television. I was like, I didn't really know Korea had a space program then. And then every year it's been getting bigger and better, and I'm just really excited to be a part of it, just to see it live and then see where it can take us, because the more people that are in the space race, it benefits everyone. So it's just a great thing, and I hope Korea keeps doing it and it benefits the nation more.
Right, and as you mentioned, we are looking forward to another launch, the 4th launch of the Nuri rocket later this year, so be sure to keep an eye on that. Now, to get a broader picture of the Korean and global space industry, after the break, we'll be speaking with an aerospace expert. Don't go anywhere.
NewsGen wants to hear from you. Go to YouTube and search our channel Arirang News. Click Community and leave a comment down below. Make a new type of news with us.
Welcome back. Joining us today is Professor Shin Dong-hyuk, Assistant Professor of Aerospace Engineering at Korea Advanced Institute of Science and Technology, short in KAIST. Welcome, Professor Shin, to the show.
Nice to see you.
Right. So, Professor, we'd first like to ask you, how would you assess the current level of South Korea's space industry?
So back in 2022, so we were successful in launching the Nuri. So we became the 7th country which kind of developed the space launcher. And then after that, we kind of aim to become the 5th country which land on the moon. But unfortunately, in between, India and Japan landed on moon. So if you are able to land on moon now, we will become sixth country, to be able to land on moon. So, but still, it will be a progress from the 7th position to the 6th position. And then you probably see much news about the Nuri so far, because it's not been launched for 2 years. Of course, you know that later this year there's the 4th launch. But I believe that this is kind of breathing period for the space development. So it does not happen in a year or two. For example, Nuri, it took 10 years to be developed. And then actually there's a new generation rocket is under development. And then the goal is to have a new rocket in 2032. So it will be another 10 years to have a launcher to send our spacecraft on the moon. So I'm thinking that it's breathing period. So I'm really looking forward to see that moment.
Me too, definitely looking forward to it. Professor Shin, public interest in civilian space travel seems to be growing rapidly day and day around the world. So at this pace, when do you actually think that space tourism could become a reality for the general public?
So actually, some kind of small amount of the space tourism is already possible. So there's a two kind of space tourism. One is very short ride, around 10 to 15 minutes to the 100-kilometer, which is called the Karman line. So you can imagine this is very, very long gyro drop. So you vertically go up to 100-kilometer and there. And then there is another very, very expensive space tourism. Actually, you can pay to visit International Space Station and then stay there for 1 week and so, or more. But it'll be only for very rich people. And then when you think about the public tourism, maybe we go to Europe or the USA for of course, it's a little bit expensive, but you can afford it. But I think maybe it's difficult to speculate, but maybe in 20 years, because first of all, we need to have a hotel, right? But having a hotel in space will be very expensive. So once we have a hotel, then there is just some delivery system and so forth, but it will take some time.
Right, Brandon, would you like to ask Professor the last question?
Yeah, I have a really interesting question. What's one groundbreaking innovation in space technology that you will believe will have the biggest impact on our daily lives in the next decade?
So I think the first, actually, SpaceX is ahead of that. So reusability is a big thing, I think. So before SpaceX, we only think about the rocket is only one-time use. And then so far, SpaceX is using 10 times for the same rocket. But we need to increase the reusability to 100 or 200 times. For example, if you think about the aircraft or train or car, you use it for 10 years or 20 years, maybe 1,000 or 10,000 times. So reusability is a very we are kind of moving forward to the direction, but still we need to have a much more reusability. I think that's the main challenge we are facing.
Understood.
Oh, and Professor, we were going to ask you this question as well. Wrapping up, since today is Aerospace Day, there are a lot of fun myths when it comes to space exploration. For example, some say that you'll be younger or slimmer if you stay in space. So we like to finally ask you, what kind of physical changes can we actually experience if we stay in space for some amount of time?
Actually, even I also dreamed about that. So I like to be slimmer and then younger as well. But actually, we can be against the physics. So there's no way you can go back in time. So there's no way you become younger, but you can be younger than, for example, your twin brother. So actually, in space, time runs a little bit slow. So that you have a twin brother, and then you went to the space and then come back in a year. You can be younger by 0.01 second. So technically it's younger, but it's not so meaningful. But still, yeah, the time runs slower if you're on the very fast moving vehicle. And then when it comes to slimmer, so actually statistically, people lose weight when they visit International Space Station, but it's not really because of some zero gravity. So a couple of two reasons. One is the food is not so tasty over there, so you tend to eat less. And then second one is you don't really use your muscle because there's no gravity, so you don't need to jump or run around. So in doing that, you start to lose your muscle, and then your bone density become lower. So it's not really healthy. And then of course everyone dream about not losing weight, but space is not, of course, one way to lose, but not really a healthy way.
I see. All right, Professor Shin, thank you so much for those insights today. Hope you have a nice day.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Right, so after hearing from Professor Shin, it really feels like we are getting closer to the age of space tourism or space exploration. So I want to hear your thoughts on this. And as Professor Shin mentioned, there have been a couple of examples that we've seen of civilians traveling space as well recently, right?
That's right. Well, think about it. When we were little, when we were younger, we always imagined floating in space, floating in air. Sometimes I imagine that these days, of course. And often picture people, in this space, they're doing some travel over there. And I never thought we'd get this close in our lifetime. It is happening right now. They are becoming the reality. Private space ventures like SpaceX, Virgin Galactic, and Blue Origin are leading the change right now. There are already hundreds of people on waiting lists who are rich and each willing to pay millions for the chance to travel beyond Earth. And in fact, back in 2023, Virgin Galactic, led by a British billionaire, he successfully completed its first commercial flight carrying ordinary civilians. And, back in the day and more recently, SpaceX made history by launching 4 civilians into orbit around a crewed spacecraft, marking the first polar orbit mission of its kind. And who knows, at this rate, your next holiday might come with a spacesuit.
You might want to get a spacesuit to travel space.
Correct.
Anything you'd like to add, Brendan?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. This drive to explore is simply human nature. We've always been drawn to what lies beyond. We conquered the land, we sailed the vast oceans, pushing boundaries to our known world. And now it's only natural for us to gaze skyward.
Right.
Space is the next thrilling frontier for our innate curiosity and underlying desire to explore.
Right, then I would like to ask you personally, if you had the chance, if you had the money and if you had all the right conditions, would you choose to go to space?
Yes, of course.
Really?
Well, yes, of course. I will take the 10 to 15 minutes one, not the 1 week one, because I've got to consider the risk. Yes, that's right.
Got a family?
Yes, because of the family. Well, it will be definitely a breathtaking experience for me, and it's not just a trip. I think it's a kind of a shift in your perspective in your whole life. Floating in zero gravity, you simply can't feel that down here. And think about the silence up there. You can't, experience that peace here. It's hard to find. And of course, maybe a little scary and incredibly expensive, of course. With that kind of money, I could do 100 other things right here on Earth. And plus all that rocket fuel, people think about that. Environmental experts are worried about that. And I can't help out thinking about the environmental costs. I just can't get that out of my head. But if those things ever get sorted out, I definitely still want to go. And imagine the Instagram caption, hashtag just orbiting the planet right now. It wants to come.
It certainly sounds like an unimaginable experience.
Indeed.
What would your decision be, Brandon?
Well, I think that's a great question, and something I've always pondered a lot. So you see, with my background in science, I've always been fascinated by space since I was a child. It could be because of all the cartoons I watched. But I always dreamed of going up there and wondering what lied beyond our planet. And the idea of witnessing Earth as a swirling blue marble or gazing into the infinite blackness filled with stars has always captivated me. So if I ever got the chance, despite the challenges, I would jump on it without a second thought.
Wow, you guys are very brave.
Hopefully I become a billionaire. So.
Okay, so let's also find out what our viewers think. We asked our viewers if they had enough money to travel space, would they spend it on going to space? We ran a poll on our Arirang YouTube channel, and surprisingly, a majority of our viewers actually answered no. But I could quite relate to that because it's still an area that's not well known yet. And personally, I'm a bit scared because, as Professor Shin mentioned, it's like riding on a very steep and high gyro drop, so I'm very bad at riding
weight
these
a little bit.
I
get younger a little bit.
1 second.
One second. But still, 12% of our viewers said that they are willing to, but I think that this percentage might grow in the future if we run another poll, because I think that when compared to sky travel, riding the plane, we're still not used to space travel yet. So maybe if it becomes more widespread in the future, maybe we could see new results on our poll, right?
Correct.
Fingers
New
crossed.
technology.
Right.
New technology
New
always
technology.
takes time to be taken in by the individuals. Cell phones, telephones, all that stuff. So,
Right, and as we're talking about the future, looking ahead, wrapping up our discussion today, how much closer do you think we'll get to space exploration and space travel in the coming years? What do you expect for the future of space technology?
Well, space technology will advance. I think the line between science fiction and reality will keep getting thinner and thinner. We may see space hotels, as Professor Shin mentioned, and even missions to Mars. And who knows, one day exploring space might be as normal as booking a flight ticket. Our next generation might go on school trips to orbit. They will ask, "Mommy, I'm going to the orbit next week. Can you pack a picnic box for me?" And space knowledge will be important, will be an optional. It's an essential for them. But let's be honest, building a future in space, it's no picnic. We just start preparing now, not just technological knowledge, but mentally. And we've got to think about the ethical questions. We've got to touch the ethical questions and about the ownership, access, and responsibility, of course. And after all, the future isn't just coming to us, it's launching in our life.
It's launching in our life. Yeah, and I think that that's the reason why a lot of countries are now investing a huge amount of money and also trying to nurture a lot of personnel in space technology. One example is, once again, the Nuri program.
This year.
Right. What are your thoughts on this, Brandon?
well, I think you hit a crucial point. As with many technologies, commercial space travel will likely become cheaper and faster, and with the benefits trickling down to everyone. Innovations from space exploration would be like new technologies, new materials, or will often find unexpected applications on Earth, revolutionizing industries, improving our daily lives. So the better space travel, the quicker it gets, the better our lives on Earth gets. So I'm really excited for it. I think
Me
it's going
too.
to be
I
really
think
awesome.
a lot of people are excited about exploring the unknown. And that's all we have for today, but NewsGen will be back tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Korea time. Special thanks to Kwon-jiyeon.
Have a lovely Aerospace Day.
You to have a lovely Aerospace Day, Jiyeon.
you.
And Brandon M. Jones.
Thank you for having me, and have a lovely Tuesday.
Have a lovely
well.
Tuesday. And to our viewers, thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow. We are News
News
Generation.
Generation.